Yo! Welcome to an episode of Get Close. I am your co-host, Gio.
And I'm Bart. And you know, like a lot of people, when they look at us, right, they go, oh, man.
They are hot.
That's what they say when they see me.
Sure.
But they go, oh, man, that's a really cool life. But not everyone has like a just upward line, right? Everyone has been a loser in their life.
Yeah.
Everyone has been good at something.
Yeah.
Bad at something.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I was thinking about, and I just kind of wanted to explore our past, is what were your...
I'm still a loser.
I know. But
Hey.
so think even more losery.
Oh, man.
What job did you perform the best at? Like, you're like, man, when I had this job, I freaking crushed it. And what job were you like, dude, I was literally the shittiest employee, and I am surprised they didn't fire me sooner?
I've never been a shitty employee.
Yeah, right.
No, I swear to God. Okay. So I've never really had more than 2 jobs, like actual jobs.
Okay.
So I worked at the bookstore / coffee.
Let's say even non-paying jobs. Like I was the class historian, and man, I fucked it all up. Like go down to second grade. You know what I mean?
I was never that much of a fuck up. So let me.
How are
let me
you
just
not more
finish.
successful now? How'd you end up with me?
That's what I ask myself every goddamn morning.
If you crush at every single job, you should be with Elon Musk.
So no, not that. So can I explain? Goddamn it!
Yeah.
Are you asking me a question?
I think you're doing a bad job right now.
I'm about to fucking kick you with this. Is my foot dirty? Oh, you're lucky. It's clean.
Finally.
So can I explain myself?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've only had 2 jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first one, it was at a college textbook store. On the off season, it was like primarily a coffee shop / juice bar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My second job, so I worked there. The first job maybe about 2 years, full time, part time. Sorry, full time. I don't even remember. I'm so
You
fucking
don't even
old
know
now.
the difference between the two.
Yeah, I think it was full time. And then once I graduated college, and when I was kind of like about to wrap up college, I was working at a bank, and then I was working my way up. Right.
But you also interned at Universal Music.
Yeah, but that's not like a... So that was so short.
I said even class historian.
I know,
in
but I
second
didn't
grade.
suck at any of it. I mean, obviously I didn't get hired because I probably didn't fucking
Let's
kill it.
examine that because you didn't kill it.
But they didn't tell me that I sucked. They just were like, cool, thank you for the internship. See you later.
When you audition for a show, do they tell you that you don't get it?
I don't know, do they?
They let you know you sucked by not calling you back.
Oh, okay, well then I guess I sucked. I just don't know how I sucked. Because you're asking me what... Okay, what the fuck do you want?
So, you're what? 47 now, right?
Fuck off. I knew that was coming, you piece of shit.
So, and you know, like every phase in life that you get better at,
Right.
you look back and you go, oh, I wasn't as good as I thought I was. So you're telling me at 49 that,
Fuck you.
that you're still admiring the work you put in at 22?
No, I keep trying to tell you. Can I explain myself? God damn it.
Yeah, hurry up.
Okay. So when I worked at the bank, I was really focused on like climbing up the corporate ladder. I knew I wanted to be like some type of suit wearing bitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wanted that.
You look good in suits too.
Thank you very
Turns
much.
me on.
I agree. But compliments aside, I was really focused on climbing, right? So I want to say about year 2 to 3, I was like in business banking. I was working with like high profile business owners and stuff. But at the tail end of that, right before I started to like, when I fucking left, I was so overworking there because I had been introduced to the life of...
Wait, overworking or overworking?
I'm over,
You're over
that job.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was introduced to your lifestyle, this alternative way of living that I was just like, wait, what the fuck am I doing here at this job? And then at that point, it was literally from night and day. I was just like, boom, I'm out. Like mentally just checked out. I didn't give a fuck so hard that once I put in my 2 weeks notice, literally the next day, maybe the second day, my manager was like, hey, you know what? It's okay if you just don't finish out your 2 weeks here because you're really influencing the other staff and no one else wants to, like, everyone is just rubbing off, like you're rubbing off on everyone and no one really wants to work. Like everyone's work ethic went, "Rah."
That happened at the beginning of the 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So I got paid for like not showing up to work because I was just like so checked out for that last week.
What was the difference? Like what's stellar geo and then what's like putting in the 2 weeks geo?
So stellar geo was always on time, which is obviously baseline, right? But you would be surprised how many people don't do that. I was always going above and beyond to like get new accounts. I was coming up with different events. Like I didn't see anyone really be as proactive as me. I was like, hey, I noticed that this business is over here, this business over here. Is it okay with you, manager, if like I can have this block of time and I want to put together an event and like be out there? And she'd be like, yo, that's tight. She's like, well, what like staff do you want to take with you? And I'd be like, oh, I want that guy and that guy.
What would other people do? Did you just stay in the branch?
They were just very passive.
Oh.
So that's why like every quarter I was getting all these like hefty bonuses that later I would have to fucking use because I would always crash my fucking car. But besides the point, every quarter I was getting bonuses just because I was hitting all my goals and then some.
Whereas everyone else was just like doing what was listed on the job description, you were going above and beyond.
Yeah, I mean there was like a couple people, I guess, like me and maybe another person or like two other people, but no one. Like, I mean, I'm just like focused on myself, right? Like I'm just looking at other people and what they're doing, and I'm like, man, I'm just trying to stack my chips. I'm trying to just keep climbing.
What made you have that like ambition?
I've always had this idea of things that I want, which tend to be material just because that's all I really knew at the time. So the first one was my car, right? Like I wanted to get a car. I wanted to buy it on my own. So I'm like, what does it take for that? Lucky for me, I qualified for financial aid. So I was like, sick. That's where my money's going.
Yeah.
Like, because for me, car equals freedom. Freedom equals exploring. And then I already had like my checklist of what I wanted in my life, right? Like I had my timeline of, I want to climb the corporate ladder. I want to be a businesswoman. I wanted to be financially stable. Then at that point, I wanted to meet someone, get married, buy a house, have kids, boom, life done. Right? So I had like this checklist of things that I wanted to do. And the first step for that was freedom, like driving around, like exploring different areas in my city, outside of my city, all that stuff. So that was the first one. And then once I got that car, I was like, my next car that I wanted a Honda because everyone like, so I got a Geo, ironically enough.
Geo Prism.
I know.
They don't make those no more.
No, they don't.
Good.
And every time, I know. It was such a reliable car, though.
Really?
Yeah, it was stick shift.
It was probably the name. No one liked it.
What do you mean? Everyone likes a Geo.
I've never heard that phrase before.
Geography, geometry.
I always hear people saying they
Giovanna?
hate those subjects.
That's
All
true.
three of those subjects.
That's true. Well, that's why they probably like me so much because I'm like the opposite of those. Say some shit.
Go
I dare
ahead.
you.
So were you like this in elementary school? Like ambitious, where you're like,
Nah, I don't think so.
So you weren't stellar though as a
I wasn't,
kid.
no.
You just told me you were stellar as a kid.
Huh?
I
Like
just
in
told
school?
you. Yeah, I was like, what about at like second grade class historian? Were you crushing it? And you're like,
You said all that shit? I didn't hear any of that.
what?
Yeah. I was here, but I guess I didn't hear that. No, what did you say?
Because I was asking, because you said you only had 2 jobs, right?
Yeah.
2 jobs. I was like, all jobs. I was
No.
like, down. Are you hearing me this time?
Yes.
Down to the second grade class
I suck.
historian.
Did you see? Do you fucking see this fucking 4th place right here? Do you see all my report cards up there? They're fucking shitty.
Okay, I need to read. I need to re-ask you everything then, because
Okay.
I don't know if we've been having the same conversation.
I thought you just meant in like working.
I said all jobs down to the second grade class historian
Nah.
or universal music. Literally any person goes, I bestow this
No one
responsibility
gave
upon
me
you.
any responsibility in school.
You weren't in
I
charge of
sucked at school.
putting the handballs away.
Nah.
Okay. So then,
None of that.
okay. So what? So when you just said I crushed it my whole life, you didn't crush your whole
I
life.
thought you meant specifically work, so that's my mistake.
Can you clarify the whole thing, just for the record? Because I'm confused now.
So I thought you just meant in work, like me as a working person.
Okay. So now you, with my new understanding, can you
Yeah.
clarify the whole thing?
So I
Where
sucked at
where did you
school.
suck ass at, and what were you
School.
good at?
School, and I'm good at hustling. That
You
was
didn't
it.
hustle in school?
Not really. I didn't see it as a. So I think I was so deprived of like human interaction that I just saw school as a way to hang out with friends or as a way to just see people. Cause like the way I grew up is grew up in the hood. My mom luckily was a teacher in a really good neighborhood. And because of that, I was able to go to school there. Because you know how usually schools, you can't go outside of like your zip code or like your area in which you live. So the area in which I live, the school I'm supposed to go to is fucking ghetto. And my mom was just like, no, we're not having that. So my mom did a really good job of protecting me from all of that, where unfortunately for me growing up, I was just inside my house the whole time. Like I couldn't go out in my front yard, even like outside of my gate to play with anyone. I didn't know any of my neighbor kids. Like, so it was like school was like the only time I could like hang out. So when I was there, I was fucking distracted because I'm like, all I wanted to do was just talk to my friends. So I was always the kid, and I'm sure you can relate to this, that was like in a desk facing the fucking wall because I wouldn't shut the fuck up. So like, yeah, I didn't really care for like grades or any of that
So you
stuff.
did horrible in school.
Absolutely horrible. Yeah. So I think like maybe like elementary, intermediate, because my parents had such a heavy hand in my studies, that I was just average. Like I wasn't above average, or I'm like a 4.0, but I was probably like a 3.2, 3.5. You know,
3.5
like
is pretty good.
like okay, then maybe 3.2 or 3.0, 3.2 then.
Aren't you sure? You're not sure. It's not 2.5 or something?
2.5, that was high school. Like high school was when it was like fucking
Because I think
shit.
2.5 is a Mexican 3.0.
Fuck off, dude.
I'm serious.
No, it's not.
I've never seen so many Mexicans
It's
cheer
not.
of getting
It's not a
3.0.
Mexican thing, okay?
Mexicans will get 3.0 and then they got straight A's in
No,
their
they
mind.
don't. Stop it. That's not even true. You don't even hang out with Mexicans.
I live in the 626. Half of it is Mexican.
Yeah, but you only kicked it with Asian people.
No. I sit next to Mexicans in my class because I can smell them.
They smell fucking bomb.
I know, the
huh?
laundry's really good.
detergent,
Yep, really good.
the soap,
Really
the
good.
cologne. We got the scents on lock.
So what's the biggest difference between the crushing it Geo and then the 2 weeks one then? And like, let's say you put yourself in a power position, would you have fired that one like immediately?
Fired the 2 weeks one?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
What were you doing? That's so different.
Like, I just really didn't care about shit. If someone comes in, I'd be like you could just even see it in my posture. Like, I walk in and I'm already like, like I didn't want to engage with anyone. Like, I mean, I was still kind of professional, you know, but like I wasn't giving attitude or anything like that. But I definitely, like, it was just such a stark difference.
What's the difference?
That like what I was saying, like I would wake up, hey, good morning, what's up? I'm trying to like talk to everyone. I'm trying to like have like really engaging conversations with like any of my business clients so that I can see if I can get more business. I was always trying to strategize like with my bosses and just trying to be like, hey, okay, so then who was like the top seller, like picking their brain all the time. Like even like investment bankers, I was always trying to learn from them and talk to them and then just be like, okay, well, what are your guys' strategies? Like, where do you go from here? Like just constantly trying to find my ins in anything. And then just even with my coworkers, right? Like even just trying to encourage them. I was always trying to be really positive, like trying to set the example. And then the 2 weeks one was just like quiet, more reserved.
Did you close any deals or close anything during the 2 weeks?
Nah, I didn't give a fuck. Yeah, I was just like, I'm out of here. See you, losers.
Did you feel guilty for like...
No,
maybe not then, but afterwards, did you feel guilty for like...
Never.
Really?
Yeah. So like the bank that I worked for was so fucking corporate that like no one really got close to you like that. And you didn't really get close. Like it's just so massive. Like you don't really get to, it's not like a small business where you know directly who the owner is and you like you have actual conversations with them.
There's like a bazillion branches.
Yeah, it's a bazillion branches and just a bazillion steps to get to anyone that's like, and everyone just seems so fake in corporate.
I see.
You know, like everyone is just like,
everyone's semi-checked out.
So chipper and like fucking like goody two shoes and they think you're so funny and I'm just like, bro, this feels so fake.
I see.
So there was really no personality to a lot of anyone that from above that came down. Like it just felt like it was slightly demeaning a little bit.
Demeaning?
Because it was just like I don't know, maybe it could be my own insecurities at that time, but like it just didn't feel genuine. You know, like it was all about sales. It was all about the numbers and stuff. And I was for that, right? Because I'm like, I'm going to get commission off of this. Let's go. Let's write it out. But it got to the point where there was just no heart or anything in it. So that's why when I checked out, like I knew no one was going to give a fuck about me anyway. Like I was just a number.
Mm,
Yeah, I was just an ID. Like if I left, it wasn't gonna make a difference. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
My worst job ever, that I'm like, man, I did a really, really bad job, was I think my first like actual legit job in high school. I think I was 16 or 17. And at that time, I think everyone's kind of material driven in high school because you don't know anything else that's bigger than yourself or like your passions,
Well, who
right?
are your influences, right?
Yeah, your buddies.
Well, that or just like these fucking pop stars.
Oh, yeah. For me, I didn't give a shit about the pop stars. For me, it was more about my buddies. And I'm like, oh, man, so you bought like that Civic? Oh, I saw them like put a sound system in. Oh, they bought an exhaust. I'm like, dude, how much is that exhaust? Like $300. I'm like, dude, where'd you get $300 from?
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and oh, I worked here. And then so I had one of them hook me up with an interview, and it's for this telemarketing place. So and it was like a 1-day tryout, so it's like an 8-hour tryout, but it wasn't very stringent because like I think in that first day there might have been like, I don't know, maybe like 12 people showed up, and it was like a group hiring process.
Is everyone 16 or is it just like a range of ages?
Range. I'm 16, 50-year-old lady, some ex-con guy with tattoos on his face, just all because minimum wage.
Did you
right?
look 16? I feel like you looked fucking like 13 or 9.
I don't know. I thought I was a man.
Were you bald?
Either bald or had bangs. You know that 90s look.
What are these bangs you keep talking about? Because I just keep picturing these two little fucking cockroach
Like
things.
it would be like I would shave like the rest of
my
it is like this,
God.
and then I would like slick it back.
Okay. Those are bangs. Got it,
Yeah,
got it,
so
got it.
just
got
the
it.
front, right? Just
Yeah.
regardless of how you style it, you
Yeah,
just
yeah.
only had bangs.
Got it.
The back was like a little short crew cut, and then like fade, you know?
Got it.
Yeah, so it was like all walks of life, minimum wage. I think it was like $7, maybe $6.25 at the time.
God damn, you remember?
I forgot, something like that. And I just thought the hiring process was so easy. It was like it was just basic hi, bye. Hey, if someone wants to hang up, or if they go like this, what do you what do you do? Like, how do you reconcile the situation? And what was sad was there's this older lady, I think that she really needed a job,
Oh.
but she would just say the dumbest shit.
Oh.
And then I'm like, at that point,
Give me an example.
at that man, it would be like
Here,
let's
call
say
me.
okay, it would be like
Hello?
hi, I'm calling on behalf of Honda, and we'd like to conduct a survey on the 2002 CRVs, and on my record it shows that you own one.
Yeah, I do.
Could I get some can I conduct a survey with you?
Yeah, I'm concerned.
Okay. So yeah, there has been this recall for airbags. I just wanted to know if your airbag, if it had any type of issues.
They've never deployed, no.
Does your airbag light ever go on?
No.
So it'd be calls like that, right? Which is live calls. But we just did it like an acting one.
Yeah.
Before you go on a live call. And the main thing was just like, you always want to try twice at the minimum. So if someone hangs up on you, you give them the benefit of the doubt that the line cut. So you'd always call back, hey, I'm so sorry, I lost you, whatever. And they try to bring up the conversation. If they hang up on you again, then
You get it.
Yeah, you're like, okay, cool, we're being rude or whatever.
Yeah.
So the lady wouldn't know what to do, wouldn't know how to bring the conversation back up, even though she was literally given a script.
Aw.
Like there's a literal script for every company, because we're an outsourced telemarketing company. You get scripts for like toasters, phones, cars, like just conducting random surveys or whatever, right? And she just didn't know what to do.
She couldn't think on the fly.
Yeah, and I felt bad because at the end of the 8-hour like group hiring, because it's kind of like an audition, like 4 hours class, lunch, and the 4 hours like let's put it into test. And she cried on her way out because she didn't make it. And that was when I was like, you know, before as a kid, like growing up super Asian, my parents didn't really want me to work because they want me to focus on my studies.
Yeah, I was going
right?
to ask you, like, how did you get that at 16?
Yeah, they wanted me to focus on my studies.
That is your job, yeah.
A lot of East Asians are like, don't work, I cover you. Because if I cover you, you go to a like Ivy League school. When you come back, your salary, like the return on the investment is high on that end.
Yeah.
So why make pennies now, right?
Yeah.
But you know, when I was 16, that's already me getting kicked out of like 4 different schools. My parents already gave up on me. So I think me wanting to get a job, my
They were
dad's
like,
like,
just anything, just stay out of the fucking jail. God
yeah,
damn
my
it.
dad's like, if you're not gonna go to school, you might as well go to get a job, do something, right? And but it was really eye opening, and I'm like, man, like I can totally see why it's good to put your kids into jobs early, because you get to see all walks of life. And that was the first time I think I felt really appreciative, because I was like, dude, This lady's 50 something and
Yeah.
have more skills than her.
Yeah.
How the fuck is she ever gonna succeed?
Yeah.
Right? That's fucking crazy. Well, anyways, I got hired, and but this was during my raving days. And you know, when you get hired and you don't have seniority, they give you the shittiest hours. So the hours I always got were Saturdays at 7.
Come on, that's when the fucking raves are about
know,
to fucking
like-
pop off.
Like Saturdays at 7, Sundays at 7. Oh, and I was trying to book weekends only because I was trying to go to school, even though it's so hard because there's all these raves. So I always ditched school, but I wanted to do good. And so I would go party, and then I would come out of the rave at like 4, 5 a.m. and I would just sleep in the parking lot of the telemarketing place. And then I would go, and I literally am on like an hour of sleep, still kind of got like lockjaw from the ecstasy of all night, you know? And I'm like going in there, and I get my script, and then I have my headphones, and you're in a cubicle. Like literally,
That's
like,
kind of good though, because you're so empathetic, so you can like really listen and like really sell.
but not when you're like on the come down. You're tired as fuck.
Oh.
And your mouth is like, has blisters from chewing all night, you know? And I haven't ate because like they put meth in ecstasy too. So now the hunger is finally coming. You know that
Man,
feeling?
You're a fucking shit show.
You know that feeling when you're dehydrated and the hunger's coming and you're on the come down and your serotonin's fucking zapped? It's like that. So I show up there, I'm doing it. I'm literally like, it's an auto caller too. So it's one of those where if you hang up, the next number
one.
on the leads list, boom, they call it for you. You don't have to press any number. And then unless you want to manually do it. So I'd be like, beep, beep. And then like how the place is structured, it's like, man, it's really good. There's cubicles in a big square, and then there's a control center in the middle. So that boss in the middle can turn around 360 and look at all the open cubicles, and he can tap into everyone's phone to hear what they're saying.
Oh,
Crazy, huh? Right?
that's really cool.
Yeah, like I guess some people will call it micromanaging. For me, I would say quality control is extremely high. And with that type of attitude that I had, though, there's times where I'm like, okay, how do I prop myself up here where from the back it looks like I'm awake?
You son of a bitch.
And how do I would try to like fidget with the phone to see if I can make it where it's like the phone's on dial tone or it's like busy. So if he clicks in, it doesn't seem like it's me, it's the other person. And I'd be like this. And I'd like support myself on my hand or whatever. I was literally like the shittiest employee ever.
Did he catch you?
Yeah.
How many times?
So my boss was a former cholo, and he's from White Fence. Have you heard of White Fence?
Yeah.
It's like a OG like
Yeah.
gang, right? And he's bald, literally tatted White Fence on the back of his head. So the minute I got hired, I already respected him. I was like, oh man, this guy's not from.
That's where you were, right? Or this is after your cholo phase.
This is after my like gangster thug phase, but I knew all the hoods like just of the SGV. And so when I saw that, I'm like, okay, this guy, like,
He's for real, bro.
I can't pull a fast one. And he would try to talk very professional with his cholo voice.
Yeah, I know. I could already hear him.
But what's dope is he earned that manager position. So he's one of those guys that's like, hey, fool, let me talk to you. Like, you know, like he's still like, he established the way it needs to be, you know? And then so he caught me sleeping once, sleeping twice.
I'm caught you sleeping.
Yeah.
Not slipping.
And then he would like, one time I was sleeping and I think he was fed up. He was like, Bart, through my headset. So he didn't even come and like tap on me. I think he was listening in. And he just talked and goes, Bart, come here. And then he was like, hey man, we don't need you tomorrow. And I was like, fuck, in my brain, I'm like, am I getting fired?
That was your first time?
This episode of Get Close is brought to you by Manscaped. Summer is here. It's freaking hot. And if you're like me, then you got sweaty balls all the time, which is freaking dope of Manscaped to come out with these brand new boxers that they took 2 years to design. And I'm wearing them right now, and they are the most comfortable, cooling boxers that I know. Especially when I was in Hawaii, I wore them for sure because it's also humid out there. And I don't know what it is. Every time it gets hot and sweaty and humid, this might be TMI, it gets kind of itchy down there. And I almost feel like I want to put a baby powder, but then I also don't want to look ridiculous with baby powder like falling down my shorts and making me look all dusty and stuff. So I don't do that. But these guys are freaking awesome because they have all kinds of technology built into it. So they got like, It's made out of super soft fabric. They got this trademark jewel pouch so that, it has that perfect support that you need, and it's extremely breathable. And then I used also the lawnmower 4.0, so I shave everything, so just get rid of the whole jungle down there, and the humidity is gone. So if you got a similar situation like me, here's 20% off your order with free shipping. Use the code GETCLOSE, GETCLOSE, at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code GETCLOSE at manscaped.com. Once the Boxers 2.0 touch your sack, you'll never go back. This episode of Get Close is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Did you know that if you're surfing online and you're searching stuff, even if you're in incognito mode, that your internet service provider can still track all of your activity? And it doesn't matter what mode you're in or how many times you clear your browsing history, your internet service provider can still see every single website you've ever visited. So that's why if you care about your privacy, you want to get ExpressVPN. Honestly, as soon as I turn on my computer, I turn on ExpressVPN before I go online, because I don't want any ads. I don't want anything being sold to me. I don't want anything that is affecting my online experience that I am not in control of. So ExpressVPN also keeps all of your information secure by encrypting 100% of your data with the most powerful encryption available. Most of the time I don't even have it on because I literally click it and it's just running in the background. Doesn't bug me one bit. And ExpressVPN is also available on all of your devices, phones, computers, even your smart TV. So there's no excuse for not using it. Protect your online activity today with the VPN rated #1 by Business Insider. And if you use this exclusive link, expressvpn.com/getclose, you can get an extra 3 months for free on a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/getclose. expressvpn.com/getclose to learn more. Secure your online experience. These days, who knows who's watching? Hackers. I just don't trust anybody, so you want to get on this. expressvpn.com/getclose. Yeah, because
You fucking loser. I've never been fired, you piece of
I
shit.
know, because movies, they go, "You're fired," but
Yeah.
in real life, no one says those words.
Please tell me you had a little box with a fucking plant and shit.
No, because every time you go in, it's a different cubicle. You don't
I
own
know,
the cubicle.
dude, but I wish that could have been you, because I've never been fired, so I don't know what that feels like.
Yeah.
But this whole
Oh, and I would show up in my rave clothes.
describe that, because I didn't live through that phase.
So either a baggy ass pants, baggy shirt, but if I wore a really baggy white shirt, you're laying on the floor, so there's a piece of gum stuck
Shut
here.
the fuck up. You're disgusting.
Here. Or if I wore a bandana underneath my hat, I'm fucking half drenched over here. Or I might have a fucking pacifier residue or some shit. It's just, I could assume I look disgusting, because after you go to a rave, the first thing you want to do is take a hot shower and melt everything off.
Yeah.
But I went to work like that. And that was the worst.
What's the dress code like?
Anything
It didn't
you want.
matter? Okay, because you're not facing
My
the public.
manager's from White Fence, and he dressed literally like a
doesn't
cholo.
matter.
Like a cholo.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter.
Big ass bend-aid. I mean, you're on the phone, so I don't think there was a dress code.
Yeah. I don't know how professional they wanted you to be.
True. But yeah, that was my...
Because, if you dress a certain way, then you carry yourself a certain way. So if they make you come up not that they would, but in a button shirt, then you're probably going to sit upright because it's just uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I ended up working for as much as I hated telemarketing, I ended up working for a mortgage company later on.
It makes sense.
Which is
what
on the
other
phone.
fucking experience do you have?
Which is on the phone. And you have to have dress shirt and tie.
See?
Yeah.
It's mindset, baby.
Yeah, it was a mindset.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so that was my worst performing, and I would...
That's embarrassing.
That's the job that, when you're looking at your best performing jobs, you're like, all right, that's not making it on the resume.
No references to that one.
No references, no need to even know that existed.
Dude, so the closest I have to that feeling is when I was told by my coach. So this is my junior year in high school. Freshman. Okay, let me backtrack. So elementary, intermediate school, or middle school, my parents were always checking up on my grades. They were just on my ass, right? So even with all that, I was still an average ass student, right? A's and B's. if I got a C, holy shit, I was in trouble. But like A's and B's primarily. When I went to high school, I had a little bit more freedom. Freshman year, maybe the first semester or quarter semester, right? I was still pretty good, like in the threes. Second quarter, like lower threes. Third quarter, fourth quarter, sophomore year, like my grades just fucking tanked. 1.0.
What made it tank so hard?
I didn't give a fuck. Like I just wanted to hang out. Like I would ditch class. I was fucking smoking weed. Like I was just everywhere else except in school. Like I was physically there, but mentally I just want to have a good time. And I knew that because I had seen my sister be the example, I knew that after college without question, after high school without question, I'm going to college. And to get into college, you're either taking the SAT or you go from like JC up to like
4 year
university. So then the end of my, like the fourth quarter or semester of my sophomore year, I was like, dude, like I need to change this shit. Like I'm a fucking loser right now. And I felt really shitty. So then that's when I wanted to start applying for sports. And like during that summer, like I tried out, I made the team. But I was still kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, like where I'm like, fuck, I still want to hang out. Like, I'm just picking myself up from being a fucking super loser. So the first semester, second semester maybe of my junior year, I couldn't get my grades high enough, but I was really into volleyball. Like, fuck, it was so fun. I had my group of friends. All the girls were super cool. They also like were kind of bad. So I was like, sick, I get the best of both. But I just knew my life was going to now be in like an upward trend. And I was so tight with the coach, and the coach really liked me. I really liked her. And my grades came back, and I think I was like at a 2 point, I don't know, whatever the threshold is, I was like right beneath it.
Oh.
And she was like, I'm so sorry, but you can't play this semester. Like I can't let you play. And
I remember one of the speeches we would get from our coaches in high school would be like, "You're a student athlete. Student comes first."
Yeah. Same.
'Cause that happened to me too.
Yeah. And it was fucking soul crushing because like she's not trying to kick me off the team, but like she has to.
Yeah.
So like I was just so rejected and so heartbroken, and I was like, what the? That was like my lowest of the lows that I had felt at that point. I'm like, fuck. Like this is a sport. How can I not be in a fucking sport? Like I should be able to just fucking be on this team. And I just was like, fuck, I'm a shitty fucking human right now. And I like never wanted to feel that again.
Did you get your grades back up so you can continue
Oh, absolutely.
playing?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah. And then after like my senior year and stuff, I played, but it was fucking, did you feel like that? Did you feel like super rejected, or you were like, nah, white fence boss, I get it. You should have kicked me out sooner.
It's hard to say. I don't know if I was like in a really deep state of depression. Because, it's kind of like, I think everything's relative, right? So when you're like balling and like, when you watch like those NFL documentaries and then they're like, man, I had the world, I had a private jet, I lost my mansion now.
Are you comparing yourself to an NFL baller?
No. And then they're like, I had a private jet, I had like Bentleys and stuff, and now I just got to drive my Lexus. And everyone's like, boo-hoo, right? But it's relative. And I think it's relative on the other end, too. Where I think I was so fucking depressed from my parents splitting up, getting kicked out of like 20 million schools. So getting kicked out of school is like getting firing to the worst. It's like it's because it's not just...
you got rejected from your own community.
It's not just you're fired. The equivalent is... you're fired and you're not welcome in this industry ever again. And your entire parents know that. Because when you get fired, it's just by yourself. When you get expelled, you go to the district office and the district has to expel you. And most people don't even know where the fuck the district office is for their school. I'm familiar with every single district that I've been a part of, because every single time I got in so much trouble, it had to get escalated beyond the principal. Most people don't even know who's past the principal. I know
the superintendent, right?
Exactly, but I know the superintendent.
I only know that because of my mom.
And I know who the superintendent is, like on a regular basis, which is not fucking normal.
That's not normal.
They're
at
supposed
all,
to be
dude.
caring about district budgets and shit like that, and they're meeting with this kid. He's a problem child. Anyway, so I was like in such a downward trend that I think when I got fired, it was just another, it wasn't like
I was overdue for that anyway.
yeah, I wasn't like a regular kid. If I was a regular kid and you get fired from your first job, I think it would crush you.
Yeah.
But I think I was already so I've been fucking slammed on the floor, and I think even me applying for the job is me just trying to get up a little bit, and it just didn't work. So I just ended up like falling back down,
Damn.
So it didn't like that old lady, that 50 whatever year old lady that didn't make it the first day. She was bawling when he told me like, you don't need to come back tomorrow. I was like, I guess I'll be selling some drugs.
Joke's on you, motherfucker. I'm gonna make more money. Damn, I've never felt that. But I'm not surprised that you like went through this shit because your life is so abnormal. There's like no fucking, I don't know how you fucking relate to anyone, to be honest with you.
I think that's why I relate to everybody.
Because you've been...
Oh, like my story relates to other people, or
No.
my heart relates to other people's lives?
No one, like, your story is like, so this is everyone, like there's a baseline.
Yeah.
And everyone's story is kind of like along this baseline, right? Like there's some like outliers here and there, but Bart is like over here.
Yeah.
Like you just cannot relate with all these other people.
I see.
Or they can't relate with you.
They can't relate with me, but I relate with everyone
Right.
because of how much stuff I've been through.
Right.
So I understand. I'm like, oh man, like,
you think you have it tough? Trying getting out and fucking kicked out of 20 schools. Which is kind of cool that you're not
relating.
like that.
That's not relating.
No. I know. It's kind of cool that you're not like that.
Yeah.
But I can see why you consider a lot of people bitches.
Yeah.
Because you're like, it's not that bad. It could get worse.
It can get really worse.
I've been there.
And out of the worst, I think I had it the best. So even as bad as I had it, I'm very, very grateful. Like I banged, but I didn't die. I didn't go to jail. I don't have any bullet holes. I don't have a bullet hole through my fucking face. I've rubbed shoulders with the worst, but
With the worst?
Yeah, but I've
What's the worst? Give me an example.
like people that do those kind of things. Like
You're rubbing shoulders with
like
them?
my prom date, she my prom date ended up joining a female gang, and the initiation is like a 12-person train on her by the male counterpart of it.
So she had 12 dudes fuck her?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's like, and then
Are you serious?
I was in that world.
Wait, yeah, but back
So
up.
I'm 15, right? I'm in that world.
And you were like, that's tight.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's fucking dope. She's fucking hard. She ain't gonna let no man own her. She owned 12 dudes. Right?
And she was how old? 15?
She was probably 15, yeah.
She got raped. That's rough, dude.
I don't know if she got raped. She wanted it.
God damn. I mean, that's just another world I don't know of. Thank
Yeah,
God to my parents, because
yeah.
I'm literally around all of that. Like
Yeah.
I've heard
Like that. So that's what I'm saying, right?
damn,
Where
dude,
like
that you didn't get the worst of it. You got the best of
when
it.
when I come back out of my deep depression into normal life,
Yeah.
that's when I look back and go, what the fuck that is? Like I can't imagine Taika being 15 and then he's exposed to that and he comes, oh, you know what happened to my female classmate? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like
Man, I'm so grateful I was sheltered.
or just
dude.
that kind of world,
Yeah.
Like
That is
imagine
fucking
like
gnarly.
Taika, he's 15, he has to go to a funeral. Like that kind of stuff.
Because of gang related, yeah, I get it.
Just that world, like not even getting like every school had the 15-year-old would have like prom, whatever, drunk driving, racing, smashed, dead,
Yeah.
And then like because I'm in that world, those things are people I personally knew, and then they're recurring instances. It's not just like, oh, there's that one time. The craziest story I ever heard in my high school was this.
Yeah.
It was, no, my buddy this week, next week this, the other week me. It was like that.
Damn. You are lucky you didn't get swallowed up by that because it's so easy, right? Like you had the recipe to be that. Like you're smart. Your parents are divorced. You come from a very unstable home. Your parents were super overbearing. Like, dude, that's fucking gnarly. That's
Yeah.
why I'm saying you need to write a goddamn book or a goddamn story, because you're just not normal. You're not the average person.
Yeah.
That is wild. So like literally as close as I was to literally all that stuff, I gotta stop
probably
saying literally so goddamn
It's
much.
probably
That's annoying.
happening next door.
Lit, yeah, for sure it's happening. Lit. For sure it's happening next door. Like my mom, I remember so many fucking like instances where I was exposed to it, but because I was so sheltered, I didn't understand what was happening at the time. It's now in retrospect, when I look at it, I'm like, yo, that is some hood behavior. Like, I remember one time, we lived in the front house and we had like a wire fence. So all it is like a little gate, you like those ones that you latch up and then it just like swings in or out, right? And then we had the bushes along the alley that like cover up that alley, and it's like they're thick. So I remember I was just kind of playing there, and then my dad or my brother comes and they're like, they're just kind of looking at these bushes and they're like, Gio, come over here. And then like you just see a guy run out, like run out of these bushes because he's trying to get away from someone. He was like on our property.
And your brothers and sisters, no one
I don't
knows who
remember
the
at
fuck-
that point because I
Oh.
was just so little. Yeah, but nobody knows who that is. Our house has gotten broken into, but that was normal. And it was probably by one of our neighbors, and we kind of knew who he was, but he was just on cocaine all the time because
Yeah.
when I was growing up, cocaine was a shit. Our neighbors next door always sold drugs.
Cocaine or meth?
I think it was cocaine, maybe meth then, because
when we
cocaine's
grew-
expensive.
When we grew up, meth was a shit.
Okay, then it's meth. Yeah, like breaking into our shit, like being shot at, like literally, god damn it, I gotta use a better word, but like honestly, like every week someone was getting shot up. Like our house had so many bullet holes. Okay, that sounds exaggerated, but like our front gate had bullet
It
holes.
does.
Like
I still see them. Nice little souvenirs.
yeah, or like there were nights, especially on the weekends, where you would hear people blasting music, but then getting in fights at the end of it. So like the neighborhood kids, we knew that like you can get up and start looking on, the apartment lawns, because I live like next to nothing but like apartments and stuff. That like you're gonna find a bunch of shit on the grass.
That's crazy because you lived in it, like geographically,
Like, deep in it.
and it never touched you. So your parents did a crazy good job sheltering you.
Yeah, amazing. Like it never. This was my life. I would wake up in the morning, get ready for school, go. Our car was parked in a garage. We had a garage, luckily. Get in the car, garage opens, get out, garage door closes. We start just driving to my school.
Which is on the other side of town. Well, not even in the same town. Another town, way better
Different
town.
city, yeah. 10-15 minute drive. Go to school. After school, then I'd probably do like an extracurricular, like either dance or art or sports eventually, and then come back home, do homework, eat dinner, knock out. That was it. Like I was not allowed to go outside. I wasn't doing any of that. Like I could never leave the gate, my fence, any of that. Like it was just there. So that's why I was just like, fuck, I need human contact.
You know what's crazy is on the flip side, my day in the life of when I was like 15 or 16 would be me waking up at a homie's house, having slept there for like 3 or 4 days already because we've been raving nonstop. And then one of our homies' houses that we slept at the most, his older brother and his cousins and all their friends, they're like OGs. And then by OGs, I mean, they're probably like 26, 27. So that's really OG to people that are like 16 or 17. And they all been in jail. And we're like, they'll bring home rental cars, like minivans. And the kids, the youngsters, we're reupholstering the car so that we can stuff pills into where the stuffing used to be so that we can traffic the drugs across state lines. And that was so normal. And one of the dudes that was in there, he was like one of the goofiest dudes. And he was like triple OG to all of us because he was a known cop killer. So he's one of those dudes that, one, I don't even know if he was legal, if he was an illegal immigrant from Cambodia or Vietnam or Laos or wherever. But you know, like the Southeast Asian gangs, they're fucking crazy. And so this guy is one of those dudes where if they ever find out who he is, they have like that hidden blue code where we're just shooting him on sight regardless of evidence, because this guy has taken out so many of the brothers in blue. And that was like the people that we looked up to. I'm like, oh, him? Oh, he's like triple OG.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and that was the world.
Damn.
You know? And then they would be like, all right, cool. We got this van. We're going to go to a rave in this state, and then we'll roll through that state. And then all these dudes, I mean, they're the guys that also helped me get into lifting because they're all like jacked. And we would go, and then they'll be like, here's like 20 pills, 50 pills. Just go sell it. Whatever you make, keep it. They're like super. So they really took care of us too, because they're selling by the thousands, 10,000s, you know? And that was like our typical life that we were in.
That's cute. I like how you think they're taking care of you, but they're not. They're just grooming you. Because they're like,
yeah.
100%. Like,
Yeah.
why would I give? I'm going to be like, how quickly can this kid move some shit, make his connections? Hopefully he stays in this gang. He fucking better stay in this fucking gang, and now he works for me. Of course.
This is my life outside of gang life.
That's crazy.
Dude. That life is me going, hey, I'm done with my gang life. It's all about love now. So
Let
that
me
was
sell some.
so that was my
pills.
raver face.
So on the
So that to me was like me not even involved in the underworld. Isn't that crazy? The perspective of like when you're that young.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, these are just like doing homie favors now. Like me unpacking like the foam and the car
without
seats.
knowing you're still in the underworld.
Yeah, without knowing I'm still like doing that kind of stuff. I just didn't. My perspective is just because I wasn't actively fucking people up or like robbing houses. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like I'm not hurting nobody. I'm just taking these foam apart. And before we turn it back to Hertz, I'm gonna put the foam parts right back in. They're not even gonna know anything happened.
So the flip to your flip, I remember trying to ask my parents, like, oh God, and this was the fucking worst. And I'm sure like anyone that's Mexican can relate to this shit. Hey mom, can I go to so-and-so's house? I don't know, ask your dad. Fuck. All right. Wait for my dad to get home. Hey dad, is it okay if I can go to so-and-so's house? And mind you, these are the friends that my parents already know, because my mom needs to know every single one of my friends, their moms, where they live, all of that. Like my mom's very much involved. And my dad will be like, well, I don't know. What'd your mom say? Well, she said to ask you. I don't know. I don't want to know anything. Go ask your mom. I'm like, fuck. Right? So then finally, when someone says I can hang out, it's literally for like, there we go again. It's going to be for like an hour or two.
What prevented you from sneaking out or running away from home?
I was scared.
That's the cutest thing
I was so fucking sheltered. I thought the world was going to fucking kill me. I thought I was going to get raped, murdered, kidnapped, trafficked, like all of that bad shit I thought was going to happen to me. Like I knew nothing outside of that fence, and I just knew there were a bunch of bad people, and I was a hot commodity. That was it.
Oh, damn.
And I was just like, nuh-uh, dude. I only snuck out of my house one time, and that's when I was 20-something. And I was so scared. I was like, holy shit. I was really scared of like my parents.
Wow. That's awesome.
So yeah, so then I'd go to my friend's house, and my mom and that she would talk to my friend's mom, and she would give her the lowdown. Like, I don't want them out here. I don't want her to do this. Like, please make sure that like you keep an eye on them. Like if we'd go on school field trips, because my mom's part of that school district, she would know every single driver, every single teacher, every single fucking TA, all of that shit. And she'd be like, keep an eye on that one. Let me know if she does anything. And I'm like, fuck. So like my mom had her hand in every aspect of my life. So, I mean, I'm grateful now.
That's crazy.
But at that time, I'm just like so regulated that I'm like, fuck, man, let me fucking do something. So now you can see why I was dying to have a car.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, and I was dying to work. Like I remember in high school, I've never been the kid to be like, can you buy me this? Can you buy me this? Can you buy me this? Because I would just see my parents work so hard that I'm like, I'm not doing shit to earn my keep here. Like I should be earning my own money. Like I just felt guilty asking for things. Not that I ever felt poor, which is really ironic, because we definitely weren't like super poor, but we weren't like well off. Obviously, if I live in the hood, right? But I always wanted to work because I wanted to earn my own money, and like anything that I could do to take care of myself, I would. Like do my own laundry, like all that shit, right? So like as soon as I could save up money, I'm like, the first thing I'm doing is buying my freedom, aka a car. Yeah.
On the flip side, I think one of the best jobs that I ever did was in the Marine Corps. I think one, shout outs to my boss. I think he helped me a lot because he gave me like a really good framework. I think also the Marine Corps kind of does, but I think the Marine Corps framework is so hardcore that it either burns you out, makes you hate it, or makes you excel. It's probably those three. Like most people, they either get out immediately after their 4 or 6 year enlistment, or they go life, or they just don't want to do anything military ever again. But by the time I joined the Marine Corps, I was 18, and that's when I was really like, I really got to get my life together. So my own plan when I graduated high school was join the Marine Corps, go to community college, do the whole reserves thing so I can go to school and do the whole military thing at the same time, study my ass off, get into a really good 4-year university. That's my goal. Like I really wanted to like turn my life around. And I think although like it's really hard to go night and day, I definitely had my my relapses. Like my first quarter, I didn't do so good. I still like
of course,
ditched and all that, you know.
Yeah.
But every time I'd feel really guilty, and I'd really almost like lecture myself, like hold myself accountable. So my first,
did you hold your own shirt? Like, listen here, you fucking bitch.
Yeah, by doing bad, I mean like 3.3, which is insanely good in high school. In high school, it's like 1 point something across the board, you know. But something that I really liked about the Marine Corps that made me want to kill it is one of the things that my boss taught me was you always want to learn your boss's job. That's how you get promoted. And also in the Marine Corps, you're paid according to your rank. So if you want to make more money, you need to get promoted fast. So he was like, if you can do my job, I can trust you. I can work on bigger things. I could take my boss's job. We'll all get promoted together. So there's that one mindset I really liked. And the other thing that you always hear, especially when you're a younger Marine, is if you're not busy, I'll find work for you. So you're just always, finding some sort of busy work, and there's like almost zero downtime. So like, let's say, I worked in supply, and like, let's say we got all the equipment and supplies necessary for a certain exercise, right? It's like literally running inventory. We get all that stuff ready, and then we have to always double check, like reconcile our inventory with the budget that we get every year, because we like things have to get allocated, right? Like can we afford to destroy these 5 packs? Because do we have enough money to buy other 5, or do we need another 5 for something else that we need in the future? That kind of stuff. So you're always like, cross-checking these numbers.
This is you at 18?
Well, it's a whole team. It's a whole like your whole like
I see.
section, right?
Got it.
So we drew this together with my boss.
I was about to compliment you, but yeah, you're right. You're dumb.
Yeah, I'm dumb. With my boss as my leader, my supply chief as my leader. He runs all this stuff. But because he always has take my job and also stay busy or I'll find work for you, that created this type of mentality where even when things are perfect, how can I make it perfecter? So after we have like a big goal, like wall-to-wall inventory, make sure everything is set in place and everything is set, I would still walk through our supply where all the shelves of all of our stuff is. And I'm like, what's a faster way we can do to run inventory? What's a more efficient way that we can keep track of stuff? Because this time when we did our inventory, it took us 2 days. Can I bring that down to 1 day? And then so like one of the things that I started doing was I would take things and I would wrap it in bundles of 5 or 10. So like, let's say if we're going to count 1,000 ammo pouches, instead of counting like literally, hey, you count 100, I count 100, you count 100, they're already in groups of 10. And then so now we're just got to count, like all of us just has to count 100 things, So like we were able to bring that down. Is there better ways we can relabel the warehouse? Is there a better way we can have like the feng shui or the flow of the warehouse where we notice people, they check in or check out, they're always in this order. Let's do it according to how the new workflow is. And there's we're improving the efficiency of stuff, and me constantly wanting to learn more from my boss so that I can do his job. And I ended up picking up sergeant in like 4 years in the reserves, which is like very, very, very rare.
What is the average for that position?
So at that time, it was tough to even pick up sergeant at all in your first enlistment. Like if you picked up corporal, which is like a non-commissioned officer, which is right under sergeant, you already did pretty good. If you could pick up corporal in 5-6 years, that's pretty good. But I picked up sergeant in 4 years.
I don't think I've ever been that stellar.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I honestly, I feel like I've just been this average person my whole life.
Oh, and it was so good to the point where on the end of my enlistment, they had this thing called in zone. So corporal and sergeant is non-commissioned officer. Staff sergeant and above, it's called like a staff non-commissioned officer. So now you start rubbing shoulders in like the big boardrooms. So in zone, meaning like you have enough on your resume to even be considered to go into that side of things.
Dang.
I was in zone on my 6th year, and I was offered a bonus to re-enlist.
How much was the bonus?
Probably like, I don't know, like 10 grand a year extra or whatever. But it was gonna be like, that's how dope I was doing, where they wanted to keep me as on to do another year or two, you know. But at that time, I just had like so much on my mind. Like I was at UCLA, and then I fell in love with JK, and like I was just like, I think this was a really good chapter of my life. But I was ready to move on from both school and the military.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've had anything like that. I don't think I've ever been stellar at anything.
So you've just been lukewarm the whole time? Not too bad, not too good?
Yeah, I think so. I think I've always just been an average person.
No one ever told you, man, you fucking smashed at this?
Not that I recall. Or maybe I don't take compliments, but no, I don't remember.
You don't ever do things and go, man, I'm better than everyone at this?
No, I never do that.
Really? You think you're the same as everybody?
I think we all have our own strengths. Like I'll see other people and I'm like, man, I can't do what they're doing. You know, but I'm never really going like, I'm the fucking shit. Like I've never had that mindset.
Oh, damn.
Not that it's good or bad, but yeah, I always feel like I'm like, fuck, I don't know enough about this shit. Let me keep like, who else is really good here that I can like learn? Oh, that person's actually better than me. I perceive it better than me. I'm like, okay, let me see what I can learn from that person. But I don't ever feel like I'm a like outstanding.
Has there ever been a job where you're really proud of yourself at?
Where I'm really proud of myself? Not really, no.
Really?
Yeah. I feel like I can always do better.
Yeah, you can always do better.
Yeah, but I always feel like, oh, I did enough to just kind of like hang in there. Yeah. Maybe that's what keeps me striving for it. I'm always going like, yeah, this is not good. I should do better.
Or maybe you're not focusing on the objectives. Like, you know, in the Marine Corps?
Yeah.
Every rank has more benefits. So literally when I get another chevron and you see me, I could tell you what to do.
Well, for me...
And also, not only that, we could not know each other. I can literally go to another base.
Yeah, that's cool because it's a physical thing,
That's
right?
what I'm saying, right? So that's like, there's an objective metric, right?
Yeah.
Or in like basketball, like every game I
don't have any of that.
I know you scored 10 points, I scored 20 points. I'm obviously better than you.
Yeah. So for me, remember these 2 jobs I had? The first one was the bookstore. There's nothing really there, right? I just thought I was a good seller because I was just like, during the school year, people would come in, we would buy back their books, right? So then there's this program, the software that you use, you like, you scan their ISBN number, and then the computer will like spit out what it costs for you to buy that book, like industry. So then I'm like, oh, I don't want to pay that. So then I would like undercut or like sell it so that I can make my boss's money. Isn't that funny? And I wouldn't get like a cut from that or anything. I would just get this sense of pride where I'm like, yeah, I closed that shit, you know? So stupid.
But you don't go like, hey, like other coworker, how many did you close?
No, there wasn't other coworkers. It's so small.
I see.
The only time we had coworkers, they were temps because it's only at like the first week of school where it gets nuts.
What about the bank job? There's no other like bankers like you, and you're like, well, because obviously you got more bonuses than everyone else, and you got all these.
I don't know
privileges.
if I got it more than anyone else. I just knew I had my bonus. Like I wasn't sitting there comparing, right?
But weren't you getting invited to that special Disneyland restaurant? Like
I was.
Isn't that like only like the top regional or top whatever?
Yeah, but I don't know how many of those got it outside of my branch, right? Like I know in my branch it was probably like me and maybe someone else.
So that means you knew at your branch you were the best.
Yeah, but at the same time too, I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like,
Because if no one else from your branch is going,
yeah, I just don't think I'm the shit. You know, maybe because I just didn't even really respect that job, where I was just like, this is just like, I'm still moving up. This is still entry level for me, you know?
but you could kill it in first grade.
Yeah, but I wasn't like super killing. Like, I just didn't feel like I'm the shit. It was one like, sick. My hard work's paying off because I'm getting bonuses. Cool. I'm gonna keep trying to attack it.
Oh.
So it was just like that. I was never really like comparing or trying to think of what other people were doing. I'm like, my objective is to move out of my house, hit these goals. Am I getting closer to that, or am I getting further away? If I'm getting further away, I'm doing the wrong thing. If I'm getting closer, cool. And me getting closer was getting more money. So I'm like, sick. I'm going down the path I want to go. So I didn't really care about what anyone else was doing. But I didn't feel like I was like the shit.
Damn.
I just felt like I was so tunnel vision with me trying to hit my own objectives that if I'm like, if I'm getting closer to that, then I'm doing the right thing.
That's crazy. I don't know if it's maybe like either my Asian upbringing or maybe just my mom specifically. But ever since I was a kid, like knowing where I stand was so important.
Yeah, for sure. It's an Asian thing and your mom thing.
Because like even like in, I remember in junior high, they would post the test results. And they would post it on the wall, but have your student ID number, right?
Fucking geek.
So no one would be like,
I didn't give a fuck.
So no one, it's anonymous, but you know where you're at. And I always had to go look because the times that I cared, I want to make sure that I'm up there.
Yeah.
But the times I don't care, I'm like, I don't give a fuck anymore. And it's like, pew, all the way at the bottom.
Yeah. I don't think I cared because I've always felt so average. I felt so average literally in every part of my life. So I'm like, I'm probably in the middle always. So I'm like, what? There's no point.
Are you happy with the success that you have had then? Or do you feel like your success is average too?
When I look around and because I'm such a workaholic and a workhorse, I don't really sit there to think about that. And it's not until I go back to my previous life, if you will, where I meet up with old friends or I see where people from my high school are and just kind of like the trajectory of their life, where it seems to be aligned to what my goals were before being introduced to the life of YouTube and like an alternative lifestyle in entrepreneurship. That's when I'm like, oh shit, this is different. But besides that, I don't really sit there and think about it and think about how different it is. But it is, right? Like when now having this conversation, I'm like, fuck, it's not normal at all. But I never think I'm really good. Again, I'm average, you know. Interesting. Yeah. So, for you had parents, and culturally, you want to know where you stand.
Probably comes even from the Asian school system, you know, because it's
Yeah.
like all the people want to test into the best elementary school. That's how early it starts. And from the elementary school, you want to test into the best middle school and test into the best high school. So even though we don't have that system over here, my mom probably carried that culture and that drive of understanding that like you always got to try to be the best.
Yeah, no.
And then brought that over here.
Best was never like it was never like heavily enforced.
Like even for
it wasn't even a thing.
Even at Chinese school, there was like a singing competition that my mom entered me into, and then even that thing, and all you win is a high C.
Well, it seems like too, like your mom came from a different like financial bracket, right? Even though she is, I was gonna say imported, but
imported goods. They paid tariffs for her.
Yeah, even though she did come here from another country.
Yeah.
She came here from people that had money that were able to afford her ass to be flown out here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So like her mindset is not survival. It's more like my parents, maybe they didn't even have to survive, you know? Maybe her parents survived. And then just generationally it got better and better.
My mom's parents had to survive because they left a warring nation.
Oh, so then she got it better. So
but my mom's college educated, which is rare.
So your mom is like us. Oh, your mom is like me. Your mom
Taiwan,
is me.
yeah.
Yeah.
And she moved here by will, which is why her other two siblings are still over there.
Yeah.
Like she's not a refugee. She didn't come here to seek a better life. She came here because my dad asked to marry her.
Whereas like my family, like we are that first generation.
Oh, I see.
Like,
first generation of like success or more than
having to survive.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
Yeah. Because my parents came here, teens, nothing at all, super poor, ground up, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas your mom, I mean, your dad's also that way, ground up.
Yeah, my dad's
Your
like
mom,
that.
though, is not ground up. Your mom is super ground, grass, pretty good foundation, maybe even like a small little house on there.
Yeah.
And now she can go out of that.
Yeah.
So that's really dope. That's really fortunate. So like when I think about it like that, I'm just like, whoa, I've done a lot.
It's time to wrap it up, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you had a follow-up to that. Okay. Yeah, but that's not something I really think about. I should probably do some more digging and see why. Or not. I could just leave it alone. Where do you think you lie now?
In what regard?
What you're asking. Like, do you think you're in a place now where you're like, you're super killing it? Or you're just like, it's a different phase?
In my phase now, I don't think I'm killing it at all.
Yeah, you think you're super, but killing it in terms of career, because I think you're killing it as a husband and a father.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think in that regard, I feel like I'm a pretty good husband, and I think I'm a pretty good dad.
You're an outstanding husband, and you're an outstanding dad.
Oh, thank you, Mom. That's very cuny.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be cuny, dude.
But I also think like the bigger the leagues you go, the bigger the galaxy, right? So
Yeah.
like I think like when you're in a small pond, it's like the top junior high basketball player does good. Cool. It gets to go to the best high school. Now he's no longer the starting point guard, might be a bench player, you know. Or if let's say he goes to college, scholarship, right?
Yep.
Then he gets to the NBA and he's ranked 50.
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden, right? And then you go, okay, all-time best point guards, not even on the list.
That's, I think, where I'm at.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think like I crushed it a lot, and then but as I entered into the bigger and bigger world, so maybe like early JK, when we really cared about making an impact and doing well on YouTube, we used to be on the front page. So that means top 100 channels of comedy, probably top 100 even Asian American channels, right? So it's like pretty up there. And then as we grew the company, you know, everyone's goals are different.
And YouTube is growing.
And YouTube's growing, right?
Yeah.
And then so some people care about where their channel status is. Me and Joe really cared about lifestyle, the team. So now those metrics aren't the same metrics that YouTube measures. They measure other things. So the YouTube keeps growing, and then now we're kind of growing sideways, focusing on which is also a luxury, which is really cool, growing sideways into things that we really care about.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of like who's that chick? Like Jessica Alba, right? I believe she's a billionaire now, or Reese Witherspoon. So
Reese Witherspoon is.
So yeah, like they're in acting, and then maybe at one point they were one of the most grossing actors, right? Yeah. And then they're like, you know what? I have another passion, and it kind of grew this way.
Yep.
So in terms of the acting world, it's and you're dropping rankings, right? There's all these new people, Margot Robbie, whoever, all these people now. But then now they're going and focusing on the other things that make their own hearts happy. Yeah. But if you zoom out from a acting perspective, they're not that high. I think same thing where I go, so if I'm viewing our YouTube channel in the world of YouTube, very mediocre. But my heart is extremely full because I get to spend on time on the things I really care about, which is being a dad and being a husband.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super sick. And I think it does. That's why I was asking it. It does work out like that. It depends on what it is that you're measuring. But going back to you saying like, it depends on like the world that you're in, that like you'll feel like the big fish in a small pond, or you'll feel like the small fish in a big pond. And I think I've always felt like the small fish in a big pond because I'm getting exposed to so many things all the goddamn time that I'm always like, if I ever feel like I'm the big fish, I'm like, oh shit, I don't need to be here. I need to get out of here, because I know I don't know shit about fuck about shit. Yeah. That I'm always going like, as soon as I start sounding like I know what the fuck I'm like I'm becoming the head of this group, I need to get out. Because I'm like, I'm a fucking dumbass. Yeah. So me being the head of this group, no. We're going downhill, baby.
It's very true.
Yeah, shut up. Well, damn, thank you. That was a really dope question. That was a really dope question that I don't really think about. And it really puts quite a few things in perspective for me, because I'm going like, fuck, that's true. Like, I've come a long way, and I don't really sit there to really think about that. So it was really cool for you to bring that up. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the answers of the future reside in the past.
Okay, Confucius.
So I like talking about stuff like that because it's cool to share that journey with lots of people, you know? Like, you
Yeah.
remember I told you, even like when we first started dating, just that interests me. Like, I love biographies. I was reading biography of like Abe
Oh, I
Lincoln.
thought like you dating me was interesting. Got it.
No, like Abe Lincoln, Babe
Oh,
Ruth.
Lady Gaga. I remember you bought a book on Lady Gaga,
Yeah.
and I was like, why?
I just really like, I enjoy people's stories
Like their origin stories.
because we just, like Bill Clinton, you know, like Clinton's not even his last name. I believe he took the name of his stepdad. Why?
Yeah.
You know, just stuff like that where I was just always like interested in how people became who they are.
Yeah.
Because we view people and then we have this pedestal status for them and it's just taken for granted. But everyone climbed their own pedestal.
Yeah.
So it's cool to hear people's stories, how they got there and stuff like that. And it's really inspiring. And it's something that I've always liked, even as a kid. I just loved hearing stories like that.
Yeah. If I probably shouldn't promote this because I just want to be selfish, but I also do like enjoying any type of enrichment in anyone that cares to listen to me is how I built this. I love listening to that podcast because it brings in the top heavy hitters of any and every industry in Fortune 500 companies, and just any company we've ever heard of. And they'll bring in, you know, the CEO, the founder or whatever of it. And then they're like, how did you build this? And then they walk you through all of their trials and tribulations. And it's so relatable because, like, as a fellow entrepreneur, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm right there right now. And oh shit, this is very normal. Okay, cool. So yeah, now we get to contribute to that, which is really sick. Dope. And on that note, I'm not even going to ask you if you have anything else to contribute because I already know your goddamn answer.
Nope.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you got some really dope gems from this episode. Please let us know in the comments below if there's anything else that you see us doing or not talking about that you do want us to talk about. Until then, we'll see you next week.
Bye.